guys. So today we are having a good conversation with IRA Tillman, our Super Thieves author. Hi Ira, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
Thank you.
We're going to have an interesting day today, okay?
Yep.
I'm going to take you downtown and I'm going to show you a lot of my friends that I've met over the years.
Yep.
You're going to like them.
Yes,
okay?
sure. Sure, let's go. Ira, how you feel today?
Feeling good. Focused. Feeling focused. Got a little business to take care of later on, but we're going to see some friends of mine. And,
yep.
They've helped me out throughout the years, and they still help me. They're Armenian, Russian, Jordanian, Turkish. I have a lot of different friends, and we're going to... The Jury District, downtown Los Angeles, is in a very quaint area. It's only about a square mile radius.
Yep.
Maybe about 5-6 blocks. Everybody walks to do what they need to do. All the manufacturers are there. All the jewelers are there. All the diamond setters. The people that make molds, castings, and 3D CADs. They're all down there. So nobody has to drive anywhere to get anything made. But it takes at least 3 or 4 businesses to do one ring. You have the manufacturer that's going to make the 3D CAD. The other manufacturer that's going to put the gold, platinum, or silver together. And then you have the setter, the diamond setter, or whatever stones are going to be set. That's another company. So one ring usually takes about 3 or 4 different companies. The last one being polishing, where you polish and do the finishing work. That's usually somebody else. I like doing specialists. Anybody that claims they can do it all, I run away from. I do not employ somebody that says they can do it all, because nobody can do it all very well. And I like to tell my customers, I have an expert diamond setter, I have an expert cast man, mounting company. We're going to go to Prime Mounting, a good friend of mine.
How do you think, is it something common in writer and jewelry profession?
No, not at all. One's artsy, the other one's kind of a specific deal. I design jewelry, so that makes it a little artsy. You have to have a different kind of eye for people. I tell people, you don't want the same wedding ring that somebody else has in a 300-person ball. If you're in the same function and somebody else has the same exact ring, you don't want that. Just like wearing the same dress or shoes or hat.
Yeah, but people like to read same stories. Why do you think happens?
Same stories?
Yep.
Well, that's a different genre. I just like the same movies. We all like the same type of movies.
Yep.
Disney, or some people like horror flicks, and some people like gangster movies, and some people like romantic comedies. And that's all they like. That's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I don't believe that's any type of common denominator that you need to point out. I think that's a given, that a lot of people do like the same genre of everything. But jewelry is different. People want something that's specifically made for them. Just like a wedding dress.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to look at somebody else's wedding picture and they have your dress on.
Yes.
And the same thing with wedding rings and hip-hop pieces and all those pieces the entertainers wear. I have a lot of different things, and you'll see some today that I do. I keep it downtown because I still have a lot of ties down here. I keep my personal jewelry downtown. I don't have the safe or the vault or the security to hold on to it here in Los Angeles. I do on the East Coast, but not here.
Ira, what do you think about Los Angeles? Like, the city you grow up in, the city you like went?
It's my home and I love it, but I can't wait to get out of it.
Where you want to get out?
Well, I like the South. I like North Carolina. Homespun people. People, they have no idea about me being a jeweler. When I'm back there, I'm a guy that works on cars. That's all they know me as. And I don't try to tell them anything different. You can be a lot of things to a lot of different people. It depends on where you're at. A lot of people out here don't know that you're a filmmaker or
Yep.
a producer or an editor. Or
You can start all over again.
Right.
Yep.
And you can start over again as long as you have a focus and a goal.
Yeah.
But if you're going to resort back to what you know best because that's what gets you by,
Yeah.
you need to expand your horizons. You've met a lot of directors and producers, and they're waiters right now.
Yep.
They're waiters and they're parking lot attendants, and they're managers of hotels. Well, that's just what you do to get by, and that's the same thing with me. When I'm in Carolina or Atlanta, Georgia, I do what I can do to get by. I buy and sell cars. I fix cars up. I have a good eye for design when it comes to cars. I do a lot of custom cars. You'll see in my book where I have some cars that and you've seen the pictures.
What's your favorite car?
The El Camino truck. Funny though. It's out of all the cars I've had, and I got a 645 right now. My favorite car is an old Chevy truck, 1987 Chevrolet El Camino. I've had 31 of them over the years. I have one now. It's in Texas. I got to go get it. But I've had 31 different El Caminos. Now that's that burgundy and gray car that you see, that truck that you see.
Yep.
I've had 31 of them, and I love them.
Really?
And I don't know why they just identify with me. They're masculine, for one thing. They're a loner. I'm a loner. My mentality is a loner, like a lone wolf. The car to me is like a lone wolf. It's for one person only. Give somebody a ride, but it's one person only. That's it. And I think that's my mentality, and that's how I look at the world. Is I'm a loner, and I stay focused. I don't have a whole lot of friends. The friends I do have, they go back 30, 40 years, some of them. And
They go back to jail?
no, they go back. No, we go back a long way to elementary school.
Oh, yep.
Me and my friends, we go back to elementary, junior high school, and they know me. All the new people within the last 10, 15 years, they're okay, but they're not my dogs. We call each other dogs. They're not my dogs.
Can you tell about why you call each other dogs? Why you call each other dogs?
Well, dogs are loyal. That's one thing. Aren't dogs loyal? Don't they run up to you and kiss you all over the face and stuff? Well, that's the same thing with us. We're loyal to each other. There's some down dog. There's nothing more loyal than a cat. Is not even loyal.
Yep.
A cat is going to walk away and piss on you.
Yep.
A bird is going to fly away. But dogs, they stay. They stay maybe for food, but they stay around you. And that's what we are. We're dogs to each other.
Have you ever dreamed to become a writer?
Never.
Never.
I had an inkling that I could write when I was in high school. My English teachers always told me that I'm going to have a career in communications because I can make stories up on the fly. I was always the best at finishing first. We had a writing assignment, I finished first. And my English grades were up. But my math grades were sucky. So I would supplement my bad grades in math with good grades in history, English, social studies, any type of subject that required you to write and comprehend. That's what I was good at. What I was bad at was things with symbols, like mathematics, chemistry.
You didn't like math, chemistry?
Well, it was just absorbing the information.
Yep.
I may have been dyslexic as far as the way I took in the information, not the way I see things. That's another type of dyslexia, when you read stuff backwards, but you can hear stuff backwards too.
Sure.
And when my math teacher started talking to me, I just went bonkers. I said, damn, I didn't catch none of that, And not till I got older and started really just going through the processes of a math equation. And slowly, I needed to be taught slowly math. English, I was ahead of my class. Nobody could mess with me. But in math, I needed to be walked through one step to the next step. And the Los Angeles public school system didn't have the time for me.
They didn't have what?
They didn't have the time to do that.
Okay.
They had to teach 30, 40 kids in one setting. They didn't have the time to say,
that's the
Ira,
same
come here.
in Baku, like 30, 40 people in public school. That's like regular thing,
And other than that, my teachers telling me that I possibly could communicate well. We have a thing in our school system, I'm sure they have it around the world, where people will get together and make fun of each other on the playground.
Yep.
Right? Mean jokes sometimes, sometimes bad taste jokes. You talk about somebody's mother, father, grandmother, grandfather.
Yep, that's the same in Azeri. We call it anabachi.
Okay.
That means mother and sister.
Oh, okay, we call it shooting the dozens.
Shooting the dozens?
Yeah, shooting the dozens.
Okay.
Means that you're constantly talking and you're reporting back and forth to each other. We call it shooting dozens. It's an old
Like a
thing.
bird fight. Like fighting with birds.
That's what it was. And it's who can make the crowd laugh the most is the winner. I was always the best. Always the best. Every now and then, one of my friends would get the best of me, but I would have people walking away from me because they were just disgusted with the things that I'd say, and I was quick. So you say something to me, I would shoot it right back to you, and everybody's laughing at you, and now you're going to walk away. I was always the best at doing that. So I knew then that I had a special gift to retort to people. I thought it might be debating or public speaking. And so I gravitated to that area. When I started coaching football, I started talking to multitudes of football kids, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 kids at a time when I'm addressing the team. And that gave me the confidence to talk and address crowds and reporters and news channel people. I was prolific in doing that, but I didn't know how I could make money with it. I didn't know. I said, well, I can talk to people and I can address a crowd, but how can you make money doing this? We didn't know.
It happened somehow that people started to be around you and you started to communicate with them, become a leader.
Yeah, but that comes from sports. You have to be a leader on the field in order for anybody to follow you. And I led by example. So my thing was to work as hard as I could, exhaust myself, have everybody see me exhausting myself, and them want to do the same thing because they don't want to leave Ira out there to be the only one that's busting his tail, So I led by example. I didn't say, come on, guys, and all this stuff. I wasn't like that. I was like, let me just do it. And if people see me doing it, then they'll do it too. And then we'll have the whole team doing it. And then maybe we'll have a better team in the end. And that's how I played, and that's how I coached. When I coached for 17 years, I coached football for 17 years in Los Angeles and Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I led by example, never late, although I was a street guy. Now, I have things going on in the street, but I was never late to practice, not one time in 17 years. Never missed a practice. It was just a priority for me. I set my life aside to take care of those kids and be there for those kids. And that's the only thing I can say that I was every day constantly aware of, that I had to be at school at 2:30. 2 o'clock. I had to be at school no matter what I was doing in the
So
daytime.
even though you had something like not legal, out of law, you were at school every day
Every day.
on the same time.
Same time. And never missed a day, and I never mixed the two worlds up.
You never mix the two words.
No, because my school teachers and my principals and my football players never knew the other world that I lived in.
Oh, really? So
Never.
you were good at school and bad at streets.
Exactly, exactly. You can say that.
Yeah.
But what I did was to hustle. It just took me away. And if I got in trouble, I got in trouble away. Nobody ever found out that I was in trouble. And when you coach football, it's year to year. You can be here 1 year, you can be gone the next, depending on if somebody likes your job or if they don't like your job. Or if you find a better job, you can go to a better job. So they're used to transition. So if I was gone, they figured it was just another transition. That's all. If I just came up missing, that's why I never hustled during the season. During the season when we were playing games and practicing, I never hustled. After the season, as soon as I collect the equipment, the helmet and the shoulder pads and everything, and put everything away and and I had the banquet and I gave all the trophies away. Once I did that, I was gone. I was like Batman. I was out of there. So the thing is, I led a duality life, 2 different lives at the same time. My closest people, my ex-wife, my family knew this. Nobody else knew this. Nobody else knew this. They just figured I was Coach Tillman and he was gone. After the season, he was out. And I was out. I was on the East Coast making money.
If you had a chance, like you do have now, to tell something to young people, like the age of 17, when you left, like you didn't come home, what would you say them? Like, what advice would you give you and young
If I
guys
had to
like
do over
you?
again, I would get as many skills as possible before the age of 25. In other words, heavy machinery, earth movers, bulldozers, cranes. I would learn as many manual skills as possible because they're going to come in handy for you if you're not going to succeed in an intellectual endeavor. If you're not going to be a school teacher, if you're not going to be a chemist or a doctor, get as many skills as possible because get your CDL, your truck driver's license. You can have 10 different licenses by the time you're 25. Get them. Also, I would get some military background.
You didn't went to army.
I didn't go to Army, but I wish I had. Because, well, when I came out of high school, it wasn't no wars. The wars hadn't started yet. So I would have been okay. But a military background...
You had your own wars in Los Angeles.
Exactly. But I would have never seen those because I would have led another lifestyle that would have totally took me away from the wars of the streets and the strife and the financial struggle. I would have been a totally different person. I was meant to be this person because I was meant to touch other people with knowledge. And that's what my books do, but that's what I do verbally. I've gotten a lot of kids scholarships. I've gotten kids in the law enforcement, the fire department. I've seen a lot of my kids go into social services, and they, to this day, 15 years later, 20 years later, they tell me, Coach, I remember what you told me. And they repeat it verbatim, word for word, whatever it is that I told them.
Word for word?
Word for word. They would say, they repeat it and they sound like me. They try to sound like me too. Because I was a mean cuss. I was very mean. I was a mean coach, but they loved me at the end. They didn't like me during the season. And I used to tell them at the beginning of the season, I said, look, all of you guys are going to hate me until this season is over with. Then you're going to come to me and you're going to say, Coach, you're right. Coach, we love you. And every year it was the same thing. It It was a tough love. I was the father they never had, or the father they had that didn't know as much as I did. It's a different type of mentality that you impart when you have a street knowledge. Teachers, principals, counselors, they don't have the street knowledge. They have learned knowledge. They have university knowledge. They don't have the stuff that tells you to tell the kid,
like
watch
practice knowledge, you know.
Yeah, watch where you walk. You know, watch who you talk to. Do you need a ride home today? Because I don't like the way that looks over there. You know, they don't have that type of horse sense. Not regular teachers and administrators and principals and whatnot.
You think that's the reason there was a lot of crime that years that people didn't care about kids, about children, generation?
Well, we have a couple of lost generations due to drugs. That's one thing. Lack of a father in the home, lack of finances between the single mom and the home. It's a problem, and I see it turning though. I see it turning the other way. I see women having less children that they can't afford. So instead of having 3 and 4 and 5 children out there, I see 1 and 2. You know, a lot. And it's not just blacks.
Why do you think
white.
they don't want to have children?
Finances.
Yep.
Living comfortably.
Maybe.
Your average car now it costs $33,000. I just heard that yesterday. Your average car. You know, so that means that's almost in some states that's a house.
Yeah.
You know, in some states that's a house. And it's a responsibility, and it's a depreciating responsibility. That car is not going to be worth as much 4 or 5 years from now.
Yeah, but Ira has five kids.
I have 5 daughters.
Yes, 5 daughters.
I have 3 different mothers.
From 3 different mothers.
And so the burden was never really on one. My ex-wife has 3 daughters by me. Their age range from 25 to 35. And my oldest daughter being 35. And I have 2 in between. I have one by another ex-wife. And this was all chronicled in the book. I actually mentioned my daughters at the time that they came into the world throughout that whole book. And how I took care of them, or how I looked after them, or how I remained a parent, I remained a cohesive father to them. I missed the father in my life. Never knew who my father was. My mom told me somebody was my father, but when I looked it up, he wasn't my father. So the bottom line is I have empathy for children that don't have a dad. And it's so easy to be a dad. It's strange to me how men drop that responsibility so easily. It's so easy to be a father. And all you need is love. You don't need no money. You don't need a car. All you need to do is care about somebody.
What you think is to care about and to love somebody?
It's more important than money. More important than gold.
Okay, we are now heading downtown LA.
This is 6th Street. This is where
everything happened?
Well, everything happened as far as jewelry go, but there's a lot of different districts down here. This is the business district.
Yeah,
that's
the
district.
Business
They
district
have
LA.
Diamond District, which is where we're going. They have the Flower District. They have the Electronic District. Any kind of business that you have that involve fabrics, flowers, jewelry, you're going to come downtown Los Angeles and you're going to get your daily issue of what you need for your business. And it's all down here.
Yep.
But there's a renaissance going on here. There's a buyback. They're buying all these buildings up, and they're nothing but condos. It's going to look like New York in a little while.
Yes, it looks like New York.
They're going to be living downtown in droves. Literally, they're going to change all these buildings into living quarters.
It looks like Baku in some places, like my hometown.
And that's why LA is the film capital of the world. You can find Russia, you can find
Azerbaijan,
Baku, you can find Chicago.
Yep.
You can if you search enough in Los Angeles, you can find any place in the world.
That looks like
that
any
looks
place
like
in
any
the
place in
world.
You can find some places that look like West Virginia or Miami Beach. And this is why the film industry is so prevalent here. You don't have to go anywhere to tell a story.
Yep.
You can tell that story, that New York story, right here. You can tell the Chicago story right here. It's just snipping in and editing in some landmarks. That's all it is. If you gave the Sears Tower, you snuck in the, if you snipped in the Sears Tower, this could be Chicago. Now the accents are going to throw people off, so you can't get the man on the street to talk because he'll give it away. But bottom line is, Los Angeles, the weather, the availability of the studios and actors, this is never going to be replaced as far as the film capital of the world.
Sure, but what's your favorite thing about LA?
I wish I can be like New Yorkers and say I like the toughness and the grittiness. And it is a tough place. LA to me is tougher than any town that I can go to. Now there's Southside Chicago and there's Richmond, Virginia, and there's some places I've been to where I was shaking like a leaf. But when people die out there, they usually die for a reason. In Los Angeles, you don't need a reason.
You don't need a reason to
No,
die.
you just need to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, talking to the wrong people, and your number may be up. You know, in Chicago, so you may have to, Detroit, you may have to be part of a deal. You don't have to be part of a deal right here. You know, you can get your butt kicked by the kid that works at McDonald's. You know, those kids are tough. You know, everybody has a tough mentality here, and it's dormant. They don't even know they're tough. They're just in the city and they're just going to school, but they don't know they're tough until the time comes. Yep. And it has to come out of them. Everything that they've read in the newspaper, everything that they've saw on television, everything they've read on their phones, it'll just come right out of them at that moment. Boom. And you don't know. So this is another thing about Los Angeles. You can't misjudge anybody. Used to be guys would run around and just pick on people and stuff, but you can't. Guys will kick your ass now. You know what I'm saying? White, black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. They'll kill you. It doesn't matter. And they'll kill you because you mess with them and they weren't doing anything to you. You went out of your way to mess with them, so they got to settle the score now. That's how Los Angeles. That's what I love about LA. These people are tough, you know, and they're
just like you.
Well, I'm a different breed of tough. Let's just put it like that. I try not to be tough with people. I try to be as cordial with people as possible. I try to be sensible. I try to make sense. I try to be fair. That's what my life is going to be. I'm never going to have a headstone because I'm going to be cremated. But if I had a headstone, it's going to say, "Here was a fair man." That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
What type of writer are you? How do you think? Like,
I'm still discovering that. I'm in your face though, and I'm truthful. And I'm going to be as close to the truth as possible. I have a police drama I just started writing, and it's about a young lady that's going through the police academy. So I have a friend of mine. He teaches at the police academy in Los Angeles. So I called him, and I got all the information that I needed for this person to go through the police academy in my book. I'm thorough like that. He said, "Hey, it's not much different than going through Marine boot camp." I said, "Okay, well, Marine boot camp, LAPD, that's good." So I like being close to the truth as possible.
LAPD is very popular department. Like they had a lot of things to do when there was crime generation in Los Angeles. Like I read about it, that LAPD was like kind of very popular because they had to deal with all these things happening in town. You know?
It's tough. Other agencies, and I want to say small agencies, maybe Santa Clara or Santa Rosa, they'll send their police officers to train alongside LAPD. ride in the car with them or the sheriff's department, just to get a nuance, the nuances of, you know, how to handle approaching people on the street and how tough they should be and how lenient they should be. And it's a common practice. I have an open feud going with Los Angeles police because it's still racist. It's still unfair to minorities. Their answer to it, though, is to hire a lot of Hispanics. Okay, you're hiring a lot of Hispanics, but that's not the minority that has the real problem. You know, they have a problem, but not the real problem. You know, we need more representation.
Yes, you mean Afro-American?
Blacks need more representation in the police department. The problem is they let in so few.
They don't take like black people to police?
It's so few that they can't stand on their own. They have to conform to what's going on. If they had, and they know this, if they had a lot of blacks on the police force, we would start to have our own identity and how we approach the community.
Yep.
They don't want that. They want,
you have your own vision.
They want you to be black that's carrying the white flag. So if I'm carrying the white flag as a black man, I'm doing it because I don't have a lot of backup. I don't have a lot of people with me. So I have to do the status quo thing.
But how you black people represent yourself, like Afro-American black, how you usually call yourselves? I mean here in America, in LA.
Well, African American is a term that's acceptable.
Yep.
Blacks is a term that's acceptable. The problem with that is they start to turn that around and use that in a racist way, you know, towards you. When anything that can hurt you verbally, it seems like white people will take it and just needle you with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like an unspoken, hey, we're calling them Afro-Americans. You know, okay, well, I don't even like that. You know, I like African Americans, but now they're Afro-Americans. Okay, well, you know.
But they are not all from Africa, right?
No, they're not African, but we're African descent. And but you can say that about everybody. Everybody's African descent. Everybody was part of Pangea when it was one solid landmass. We all came for that. They've traced it. Scientists have traced every human origin, every race to Africa. Okay, well that's proven, but they refuse. They refuse to accept the science, and they mean European whites. They, for some reason, think that they're North. It wasn't all ice bridges, you know. They're trying to say it was an ice bridge between we may have a possibility of some type of intervention that happened hundreds of thousands of years ago. We'll never know. We'll never know what it was. The evidence of it is gone. Whatever happened is gone. So, lack of evidence. You know, we can hypothesize all we want, but disagree to disagree. We're never going to answer that question.
Sure.
We haven't answered it now. By now, we'll never answer.
But why so many like black people go to like become criminal, you know, in Los Angeles?
But that's a misnomer. The problem is they had first of all, they had a system of detain and fingerprint in the 70s.
Yep.
Whatever the problem was, they would detain you, write your name down, fingerprint you, and send you on your way. Well, you're creating a database of everybody. I never want my son or daughter to be fingerprinted. Well, once you're fingerprinted, you're in the system, and you're never going to get out of the system. You have an FBI number. You know, even though you've never been arrested, you have a number that's going to be assigned to you as your number for the rest of your life. That's just you. You know how they figure it.
And what do they do with fingerprints?
We don't know. They know what they want to do with it, or they think they know, or the plan may change. You know, the plan may change. Well, this is what we want to do, but
you know, even
technology's
when
changed, we got to change the plan now.
Yeah, but even when you get American visa, you need to give your fingerprints. So what should we do? Like to get
they have
to
us
be
painted
safe.
into a corner. We can't do anything about it. If you don't do it, you don't come. You don't get the visa.
Yeah,
right?
you don't get even the visa.
Right. So that's painting you into a corner. They want to know where you're at all times.
Okay, we'll just park and return in 10-15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed our conversation.